Jordan Weber's project, which is a sculpture garden and community garden growing vegetables in North Minneapolis, was a residency project, which started out to be, it was expected to be a year-long residency. It turned into 2, and was done in collaboration with an organization called Youth Farm, which is a leadership program for young people who take care of these community gardens throughout North Minneapolis. That project predated me, the planning for that project, but I think it is a good example of the kinds of projects that I'd like the Walker to be engaged with, because it goes to this idea that it's not just about bringing people in the door, it's about taking ourselves out to meet people where they are. And it speaks to this sort of possibility of art being a point of connection and healing and gathering.
So the project that we just opened up in north Minneapolis was almost a 3-year arts residency to build bridges and collaborate with the Northside community. And it just so happened that COVID hit and George Floyd was murdered in that time span. So the amount of collaboration and breaking bread and tears of sadness and joy, all these things are dumped into this project over the course of 2.5 years. And it is essentially a urban farm in the shape of a basketball court in North Minneapolis. And the reason we chose the site we chose on the north side of Minneapolis is because it's sucked up against a metal smelting factory and a shingle factory. And there's a 300% higher rate of lung disease deaths in that community, which is predominantly black and brown. So when you talk about these supremacist constructs in the US and in the Midwest, we see how urban planners sucked black and brown and poverty-stricken communities up against industrial zones, and it just kills us off in multiple ways. We are in the south side of Des Moines, Iowa. We are next to one of the largest city-operated parks in the US. I think it's 3rd. And I acquired this land, about 7 acres, by trading a couple pieces of art for it about a month ago. And we hope to use this space as a retreat, a decompression space for the black and brown activists from the recent George Floyd protests, for the between 18 and 35-year-olds that have been incarcerated from that movement, to give them some sort of green space within the city. This space will have hopefully a panopticon-like mirrored architecture space right in the middle of the property, as you can see behind me, and we hope to have a land bridge that goes straight to it. The panopticon is a architectural structure that I use in some of my work to flip the power dynamic of the prison systems and the traditional use of a panopticon and Thomas Jefferson's use of the panopticon at Monticello to view his slave population. And the idea of a panopticon is to situate it in the middle of a prison space in a way that guards can see the population below, but the population below cannot see the guards above. So you have this 24-hour surveillance tactic, pushed upon these inmates. And the idea behind, people knowing what it is that are on the site, especially if it's mirrored, is to have this counter surveillance so you can see what's coming at you, because we see in white spaces, especially in spaces like Iowa, we are one of the most over-policed states in the US. We're top 3, and the black to white prison ratio is #1 in the US. So when you think of surveillance and countering that and seeing the threat coming at you, it's an extremely interesting concept to me, especially if you push it into a green space in the city.